What's up, guys? Simone Fan 101 here, and I'm gonna make this a quick review. This is my Roadblock review from last Saturday. Now, I'm sorry I couldn't get this up sooner. I have to make this a quick review. I can't go as in depth as I usually would for some matches because I'm literally going to church in like the next 20 minutes, so I gotta make this quick. Um, oh shit. There we go. My notes. Um, the show opened up with it was a tag team title match with the New Day defending their tag team titles against the League of Nations. Just the way that the New Day is like feuding with the League of Nations, I'm enjoying it. And hold on a second, I gotta shut the door. Sorry about that. Now I can speak louder. The way that the New Day is just feuding the League of Nations, I like it. It's just that the League of Nations are losers. They've been losing ever since they formed the group. I mean, ever since Sheamus lost the WWE title back in December, the League of the Nations hasn't really been on somewhat of a losing streak. Del Rio keeps on losing to Kalisto. Rusev, they're not doing shit with him. Barrett just came back from injury in the wrestling role. And Sheamus, well, I don't know what the hell Sheamus is doing. I mean, like, a few months ago, he was WWE champion. Now he's basically a job guy. But aside from that, it was actually a good match. It started out with, of course, a New Day segment with Bootios, the new cereal. And as soon as I saw them advertise Bootios on Roadblock and then on Raw, I said to myself, okay, I have to buy the cereal. I need to eat it. That cereal has to be mine. I need to know what it tastes like. I need to know. If any of you guys know what Bootios taste like by any chance, please tell me. Because it sounds pretty goddamn awesome. But it was a really good match. New Day won. It, you know, didn't really expect New Day to lose at all. It was definitely a good match. Next match was actually next was a brief Chris Jericho promo. Again, cutting a heel promo on the fans, and being that this was in, I think it was in Canada. Yeah, it was Canada. Because it was in Canada, he disowned Canada and called himself the greatest Canadian wrestler of all time. Somewhere on the line, those lines doesn't make sense. But this is Chris Jericho we're talking about. Are you really gonna argue? After that, he had a match with Jack Swagger because I think he mocked Americans. And Jack Swagger came out and he's like, no, 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 no. And they had a match. It was actually for what it was worth. It was short, but it was actually a decent match for what it was worth. Jericho made Jack Swagger look very good here, even in defeat. Jericho won the match. I believe it was a code breaker. After two separate attempts to do it, and Swagger countered. I actually like this match. There was just only one problem. Jack Swagger's been on Superstars in main event for God knows how long since the TLC pay-per-view. So it really doesn't make much sense. But Jack Swagger's a guy deserving of it. He's good enough for it. He's not that great of a promo guy, but he's got that certain intensity. I mean, this is a guy that's been in WWE, at least in the main roster, since 2008, when he was on ECW, the brand. Next match was the NXT Showcase match, I would say. It was Dash and Dawson, aka the Revival, defending the NXT Tag Team Championships against Enzo and Cass. And once again, they beat Enzo and Cass. It was actually a very good match. I really enjoyed it. I enjoy Cass. I definitely enjoy Enzo. I enjoyed both of them. Carmella was good here, even though she was only at ringside. She's still a babe. And the Revival, Dash and Dawson, they were very good. They were like an old school like 80s tag team. This was a really good match. This was probably the second best match of the, actually no, third best match of the night. The next match was the second best match of the night. Charlotte defending her Divas Championship against Natalya. Very good match here. This match proved that Charlotte, Not Charlotte. Natalya is a pretty goddamn good wrestler in that she's constantly overlooked. I mean, when it comes to good female wrestlers in WWE now, what do we think? We think Charlotte, Becky, Sasha. At NXT, we still got Bayley and Asuka. We got Paige on the main roster. We have Emma in NXT. But then there's the forgotten one, Natalya. I mean, she's had really good matches before. I remember their NXT TakeOver match at the first TakeOver show. That was a great match, and for a while there was the best women's match I've ever seen in WWE ever. That being said, was this as good as the TakeOver match? No, it wasn't. But then again, it was still a very good match. The reason why the Divas Championship was on the line in the first place, earlier in the day, there was an interview. Charlotte decided to be a little bitch and interrupt Natalya's interview, and Natalya basically called the Flairs cowards, and that's what caused them to put the title on the line. I will admit, this almost felt like a promo from the 80s, only because Ric Flair back in WCW, he wasn't a chicken shit heel who never defended the title against anybody because he's a chicken shit. No, he took on all comers. Charlotte, in this case, being called a coward, pushed over the edge and took on the all-comer. As far as the match goes, it was very good. The finish, though, was completely confusing. Because Charlotte thought that there must have been a botch here. Because Charlotte was reaching for the ropes. He grabbed Ric Flair's hands. Even though Natalya pulled Charlotte back in the middle of the ring, she somehow let go of the hold and then went after Ric Flair. Something went wrong here. This was obviously not the planned finish. There's no way that could have been planned. Not unless it was... There was something missing. Something was botched here, and I don't even know why. I don't even know what it is. Charlotte won the match. It was a very good match. As a women's match, I recommend it. Probably the best women's match on you could say a network pay-per-view event, whatever you want to call it, so far. I mean, is it better than Becky and Charlotte at the Royal Rumble? Maybe. Maybe not. They're right around the same level. That match was more of a showcase of moves and stuff. This one was more of a technical wrestling match. It really depends on your level of taste. The next match, oh god. Okay, so advertised for this match because originally was Brock Lesnar versus Luke Harper. Now, this was the original scheduled match because Lesnar was going to face Bray Wyatt. But then they accidentally came across a gold mine in Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose. And they decided to change the Roadblock match from Lesnar versus Harper to Lesnar versus Bray Wyatt. Now, that makes sense, and I thought it was going to be a great match. But there was only one problem. False advertising. Because at the show, instead of Lesnar versus Wyatt, we got a handicap match with Lesnar versus Wyatt and Luke Harper. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, two bodies to work with. And Luke Harper's a very good wrestler. That's actually sounds like a good idea. There was one huge problem. Wyatt never tagged into the match. He never laid a hand on Lesnar. Now, it's come to pass that maybe it was because of the aforementioned back injury. Apparently, Bray Wyatt recently suffered a back injury. Now, he will be back by the time for WrestleMania, hopefully. But if he was indeed suffering a back injury, I can totally understand why they had him in for a handicap match. But if he wasn't hurt at this event, this was false advertising because we basically got what was originally planned, which was Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper. And from what I hear, from what I've first heard, it wasn't because of Wyatt's back injury that he didn't wrestle. It's because they wanted to wait off on Lesnar and Wyatt for probably a bigger show, most likely SummerSlam, or maybe next year's WrestleMania. As much as I hope that doesn't happen, because Lesnar's not the WrestleMania opponent to face Wyatt. Wyatt needs a face turn. He doesn't need Lesnar, because Lesnar's just going to bring him down even lower. With that being said, though, this match, Luke Harper being a big guy actually got in a little bit of offense in on Lesnar. Got several big boots, even that discus clothesline. It was or spinning lariat, whatever you want to call it. It was actually for the few minutes it was fun. It was definitely a lot of fun. But other than that, it was just not probably not worth your time. And if you were looking for a Lesnar versus Wyatt, which I was, you were pretty pissed off. I was pissed off. The next match was was Stardust versus Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn on his first live network special since the Royal Rumble, the main roster. I mean, gotta say, man, this match was not that good, and a lot of people say, "Oh, there's a lack of chemistry." You may be right. There probably is a lack of chemistry, but here's another thing. Ever since Cody Rhodes became Stardust back in 2014, his in-ring work has suffered. We don't see that many good Stardust matches, do we? Compared to how many good to great Cody Rhodes matches there was. So that almost leads me to believe that Stardust, it's like Stardust is a worse wrestler than Cody Rhodes because he's not allowed to be himself. Yeah, he can be crazy. He's got a good character, but they're not doing anything with the guy. And his in-ring work has suffered on top of that. So, honestly, the sooner they can bring Cody Rhodes back, the better. Now, with that being said, the match itself, again, was not that good. Sami Zayn got a little bit of pop when he first came out, but as the match wore on, it just lessened and lessened. Sami Zayn did get the win here, though, not Stardust, so thank God for that. So, yeah, and this leads us to the main event, which was Triple H defending the WWE Championship against Dean Ambrose. Gotta say right now, in some ways, this should have been the main event of WrestleMania. Why? Because people actually cared of Dean Ambrose trying to get the win over Triple H. But instead, we have Roman Reigns, who everyone despises. They even tried to put in fake cheers on SmackDown the other night, being a taped show. They can do that, but we still heard the boos, and it was just ridiculous. So, but people cheered Ambrose over Triple H. When Triple H beat Ambrose up, they booed. Why? Because they actually give a crap about Dean Ambrose. He organically came into the love of the audience. Gotta put on my socks. Remember, church. But it was just, God, we can't take Roman Reigns. It's not Roman Reigns' fault. It's not his fault. It's just that we know the bullshit that they're playing us here. Whenever they don't book Roman Reigns right, we get pissed off because that's not the Roman Reigns we want to see. Because we know what they're doing. We know what they're doing. They're trying to turn Roman Reigns into Cena 2.0. Last thing we want is Cena 2.0. Well, anyways. Hold on, Mom! Like I said, I gotta go. Anyways, Triple H and Ambrose, great match. And as well as Triple H's match with Ziggler, which I'll get to on Raw, Triple H has not missed a beat. So, with that said, this was a very good show. I recommend it. Triple H versus Ambrose was the match of the night. With that said, I'll see you later today with my Raw review.